left. Myers has it. He blows right by. Gets to the three-point line. Gives it off to Miguel Arnold. Rises and fires. Miguel!
Welcome to the Dip Mitras Show. I'm your host, Chad Cook, and this is the part where I usually say, but your star of the show is Dip Mitras, the 19-year head coach of Augusta University. Well, Coach Mitras is out recruiting right now. That's one of the ways he ends up having such success. We go through it every week. He's won more than 73% of his games in Augusta, more than 500 games as a head coach. But since he's out recruiting, we've got a special guest substitute star. Substitute is one thing Keenan Mann never was when he played for Augusta University. Keenan started from the day he walked on campus. He ended up becoming the school's all-time leading scorer, and he's one of, I want to say, 5 guys who has his jersey retired in a glass case at Christenberry Fieldhouse. Keenan's he's a former star player, but he's a current and longtime fan of the team. Kind of like me, we end up talking on the phone about, the most recent game or the upcoming game. I guess probably 36 times a year or however many times Augusta University plays. And so he's joining us today to talk hoops. And but before we do that, update. There's a lot of passionate, rabid fans of Augusta University basketball, and I know a lot of them remember you as a player and probably speak to you during games and whatnot. So Keenan, update everybody on what you're doing besides following Augusta University basketball.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on, and I'll try not to do dip too poorly and substituting for him. I'm now, I graduated in 92. I even almost hate saying that, but and then again in 96 with an MBA. And worked in corporate America for a while, and now I'm doing my own little version of corporate America with my firm, Mann Advisory Services. It's a registered investment advisor, and it's also an insurance agency, and we also prepare taxes. So all of those things is kind of what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, and you and I were joking around about a certain financial company and its owner who's landed himself in prison, and so those kinds of things. You mentioned your registered investment advisory firm and your insurance firm. All those things are things that you can look up online to make sure that they're completely legit. And if you do, the reason why I bring that up, if you do, you'll actually see me as a what do we call it? Investment advisory representative, IAR, and I do intend to actually do some work with you at some point if I can get my body out of the gym and off the football field. So hopefully that'll happen soon. So Keenan and I have been friends since he was a star on the basketball team at Augusta College, and so I'm glad you're able to join us today.
Appreciate being here.
Okay, so now what we're going to do, the show, we're going to kind of flash back to some things Dip has told us, some things that Darren Lucas-White, Jaguars Kirby, Tyshaun Crawford, Tyree Myers, the stars of the basketball team, I already said Darren, some things they've told us in recent episodes and how those things have come true on the court. We're going to review how the team's doing, and so we'll start with a guy I end up always calling the literal center of attention for Augusta University, Division II basketball in general, Tyshaun Crawford. Coach Mitras always says that the first 2 things he's got to figure out every game is how's the other team going to play Tyshaun and who's Tyshaun going to guard. But a little bit of background for Tyshaun. He's the team's 8-1. We're number 12 in the nation, and Tyshaun has absolutely led the way. 21 points, almost 22 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. He 2.5 blocks. He's in the top 5 in the nation in field goals attempted, free throws attempted, free throws made, and offensive rebounds. We're going to see some of that, but first let's flash back and see what both Dip, Tyshaun and Tyree have to say about how teams play them and how the team responds to that and how it's led to the team's success.
He's been really good. His passing is underrated. He's going over his other shoulder. Every time we go into a game, we have to figure out how people are going to guard him. We knew Barton just from the past of playing them, they were going to front him, and that's why he got a lot of dunks. Matt Arnold try to double and triple team him. But if you don't have size double him, he can see over top of it. And he's very, very unselfish. And
emphasis was to go inside early. If they're going to guard me one-on-one, you got to make them pay for it. So they started guarding me. They was behind me at first, and then they started fronting. So we just did a good job of getting me the ball, and then I was finished.
No, Tyshaun's been getting it for the last couple of games. They're starting to swarm him. But we starting to figure it out. And we're going to be seeing this all year as they try to stop the play of the year. Late in the second half, it's like you got to press up. So you want to leave Tyshaun one-on-one? Go ahead.
Tyree said, if you're going to play one-on-one, go ahead. That's your fault.
Exactly. I don't. This wasn't scripted, but I have a nickname for all those guys in the top 5. It's my and one nicknames, and Tyshaun is help. if he's on your team, you have it, and if you're not on his team, you need it.
Great one. So help, yeah. You can almost. I have a good seat at those games, right on the baseline, right where Augusta's playing offense. So I've heard that yelled out quite a few times. Quite a few. And, so they mentioned in their Dip mentioned him turning over his left shoulder. It just so happens the most recent game, Columbus State, Tyshaun had 27 points, 9 rebounds. In the game before that, Peach Belt Conference game right before that, Saturday, he had 29 points career high, 9 rebounds, and 5 blocks. I don't know. Do you remember last season we started 10-0, and then we went and opened Peach Belt play on the road at Columbus State and got beat. And do you remember the complaint that you gave me on the phone the next day?
I just heard that because it got replayed a couple of times before we went on. That he wouldn't make that move.
Turning over the left shoulder.
I had the same complaint last year, and it's hard to complain about a guy who's doing what he did. But I watched him already a couple of times this year do that. I'm like, wow, now this is it's a big problem now if he's going to do that, because there's not much he can do.
It's a sign of his improvement. Yeah. So you've got the turning over the left shoulder. For fans, like if you're left-handed, you turn over your right shoulder to score. And he is left-handed, so turning over his left shoulder is, the more difficult thing. Yeah. And he's really developed that this year. He's lost, it's been well documented, lost 50, 60 pounds since coming here 4 years ago. He's gone from his first season here, he was 30% from the foul line during non-conference play. He got that up to 47 by the end of that first year. Now all the way up to, I think it's 74%. He's in the top 5 in the country in free throws made. Now, the other thing that he's in the top 5 in the country in is offensive rebounds. It showed against Columbus State, where our team was 16 out of 21 from the free throw line, and they were 3 out of 3. So big differential on how much we go to the foul line, and then we make them now, with Tyshaun leading the way. The other thing was rebounds. Never seen a differential like this. 43 for us, 18 for them. That's kind of fundamental. It's kind of like running the football in football. And so let's check out Tyshaun on the offensive glass. Interesting thing about that Columbus State game, 0 dunks for Tyshaun. So he scored 27 points, 17 in the second half. He had 17 in the second half of the game before that too, but maybe for the first time I've ever seen him play, no dunks. You saw those little soft jump hooks.
Yeah, and you just said a word that I was thinking about when I was watching that clip, is soft, and you don't usually think about soft as being something good, but not only does he get a rebound, but he's got such soft hands that he finishes around the basket without having to dunk. So that's just fine. I mean, there's still high percentage shots, and they're going in.
Yep. Now let's flash back to episode 3 when Darren Lucas-White, we were showing some plays he makes, kind of vintage Darren Lucas-White stuff. Darren's a senior. Out of our starting 5, we've got 4 seniors out there. And so we were showing him some kind of, like I said, vintage Darren Lucas-White plays. One of them, he steps in to take a charge. They call it a block. We have a little discussion about that. And so let's kind of show that flashback, and then I'll let you know why we show it in the video after that.
Smith with the shot clock at 9. Darren Lucas-White called for the charge.
So they missed that one. That was a charge, right?
Yeah, it was a charge.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
They missed that call.
Yeah, they missed that call. But I asked the ref, but he said I leaned into him. But I mean, I get one of those like every game, so it's fine.
Drayton again trying to separate from Lucas-White down in this stance. And that's an offensive foul. So Darren Lucas-White gave up a bucket on one end. The last time they were down the floor, this time alertly anticipating the drive, taking the contact in position. Kirby has it. Miguel rises and fires. Too strong, rebounded by Crawford. He wants a shot. Crawford elevates, puts it up softly, and it drops in. 27 now for Tyshaun Crawford. Tyshaun Crawford with 27 big points, along with 6 rebounds, 5 block shots in this game.
Yeah, so I don't know if I set that up beautifully, but you know, what we had there was Darren saying, I do that every game.
Right.
And he does. He does it every game, makes plays like that every game. And so the very next time Augusta takes the floor, you know, at home, we showed one charge he took against Bowie State. I actually submitted the wrong clip, so that was with 4 or 5 minutes to go. Important play. And then what I didn't get in there was after he made the go-ahead basket to put us up 71-70 with about 40 seconds to go against Bowie State at Education Day. You saw the girl dancing and stuff. You know, they come back down the court, and he takes a charge in that moment. And I submitted the wrong clip. But so he did that twice in the final 5 minutes of that game. And then the next 2 days later, Saturday, in the Peach Belt Conference opener against Georgia Southwestern, we find ourselves 65-64. We're leading after we had been up 17 points in the second half. They come all the way back. I showed Tyshaun offensive rebound, makes a bucket, puts us up by 3. Now we need a stop. Who gets it? 2 minutes left. Who gets it? Darren Lucas-White stepping in to take a charge. He makes those plays all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I said and one nicknames, and I just thought while I was sitting here that people probably don't even know what that is, so I'm dating myself. But go YouTube and one and nicknames, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So now I know Charles McNeil, all respect to him, calls him Fast and Furious, and that's totally appropriate. But my and one nickname for him is Maximus, and you have to be a Gladiator fan to understand that. So at some point, at least 3 times a game, he should go stand at center court and say, "Are you not entertained?" You know, it's not a gym that he's playing in; it's an arena, and it's just he's just fun to watch.
I love it, Maximus. I got to go watch that movie. I think I'm the only guy on earth that hasn't seen that movie. I mentioned how I kept saying I submitted the wrong video. I might have gotten us out of order when we do put another video up. Speaking of, like, are you not entertained? I mean, I can't wait to hear what Jaquez's nickname is because, are you not entertained really reminds me of him too. Right. And those two have so much in common, in my opinion. But, on to Jaquez Kirby, our star sophomore, the only starter who's not a senior. And, what we're going to do here, we're going to refresh. He missed 4 games. He played twice, put together, like we said in episode 2 when he was a guest on the show, put together 5 ESPN top play-worthy plays in the first weekend of action for Augusta, first 2 games, an exhibition game. Had to sit out 4 games after that with an ankle injury. He's played the last 3 games, and he's not 100%. And so, we're going to talk about some of that. But first, let's refresh everybody about what he can do and why he is so entertaining.
To send help now. The ball's under. It's loose. And the Trojans got to do exactly that. Pull the open trigger and hit your shots.
Of Arnold, he'll push things up. Shot is missed. Oh, what a reverse!
Add in there because I do remember this when he got the steal in the exhibition game. I think somebody pointed out his eyes lit up like he got the steal. I'm like, first thing I said to myself, I'm like, okay, what is getting ready to happen? That's exactly what I thought because his eyes kind of lit up like. And I think he got fouled on that one, if I remember correctly. If the guy doesn't foul him, I don't even want to know what was going to occur. What was going to occur?
I was probably going to try to go between the legs. I ain't even going to lie.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, because I could see
even
his
when
eyes.
you saw the guy coming?
Oh yeah, I was gonna steal. Yeah, if he didn't come up and try, I was gonna try it. I was gonna.
That's what I'm afraid was going to happen. That's what I could. So when he got to steal, I looked in his eyes. I'm like, oh, what is he going to do? Because very rarely does he have a breakaway like that. Like it's usually in traffic or off a cut. And when he got the breakaway, I'm like, oh, what are we going to do here? So
I think I've got this video right. So let's go. Let's show 6 because 6 is when what Dip was talking about there.
Okay.
When we were in the studio, and he said, those 5 dunks were great, but the one that I was really, and he didn't end up dunking this one, but this is the play that Dip's talking about.
Teo Welton. Take a look at that here. You can see he really wanted to dunk that ball. Welton didn't want to get dunked on. Can't say that I blame.
So you can see why when we were in studio and I said, you saw him coming and you were still, and he's like, yeah, I was going to try. What do you think of that?
Well, you just to give you the nickname up front, I'm dating myself again, and most people probably watching this, I guess some people probably would have watched The Wire, but his nickname is Omar Yo. He's a good guy deep down inside, but he's also a killer. And the streets know it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a good fit for something we're going to show in a second. But we're running short on time, but I want to get this in. With you being here, when you were our coach, our AAU coach, you used to tell us that your favorite dunk of yours was you would get above the rim and have the ball cuffed on your hand, the hammer dunk, and you put and hammer it in, and everybody would get so mad because there's no way you can do that, and you would swear up and down that you could do it and that you were going to show us later, and people would get so mad. And so for some reason I thought of that because Jaquez is the kind of guy that he might just jump up there and hammer it in.
Be able to do it. He absolutely might be able to actually do the hammer dunk, and it was a myth. Just to point that out.
Well, thanks. We were right on that one. But let's when you talk about Omar's coming, what we're going to show now is how Jaquez is still impacting games and impacting winning. He can't cut, but he can kind of get a running start, and he can still get up off the floor, but he can't really cut the way that he needs to be able to be at full strength. So we're going to show video 7. It's how he's still impacting games. And the last clip, when he blocks a shot from behind, that's kind of like the Omar's coming type thing.
Timeout, Augusta!
So that Georgia Southwestern game, he scored 2 points, but it was I thought he was a major part of winning. That's where those clips come from, really being active on defense. Doing that with an injury, says a lot in my opinion. Yep. We're going to speed through these last 2. Darren Lucas-White and Tyree Myers, we talk a lot on this show about the plays that they make, on defense, hustle plays, smart basketball plays. Well, Darren's coming off a 16 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists game, and a win over Columbus State. And Tyree, in a recent victory over Catawba on the road, made the bucket to put us up in regulation. They end up tying, forcing overtime. Then he made the bucket to put us up for good to get that win. So those 2 guys are, with Jaquez out and with, Troy Cracknell losing him to graduation after last season, those 2 guys are really stepping up and doing what you expect from them, honestly, is filling that role. So let's watch Darren with his performance against Columbus State, and then you can give us his nickname when we come back. Actually, you already gave us
There
the
you
nickname
go.
Maximus.
But are you not entertained? You just saw the clips. I mean, that's exactly why.
That pass to Vidi on the baseline, and then I just now realized how cool that pass after the big offensive rebound. He's on the floor, and he kind of threw it backwards, right? And I don't know if you heard me on the tape, but I said, "Oh, shoot it to Miguel," and that sets Miguel up. You know, I wanted to say we've been talking about this. Miguel said I didn't include it here, but he said in a post-game interview after scoring 14 points in the first 8 minutes of the second half against Columbus State and really blowing open that game, taking a 2-point game, making it a 25-point game. He said in the interview, I haven't been shooting well from three. And compared to maybe he's an all-time three-point leader at the school, compared to maybe last year in his career, maybe that's true percentage-wise, but he is shooting he's 36 of 61 from two. That's almost 60%. And these aren't Tyshaun Crawford 2-point shots where, you're dunking the ball, more than half the time. He's 5'10". These are tough shots. You're going to see him here. So I don't know if Miguel watches the show or not. I kind of think a lot of the guys do. But Miguel, these two guys here do not believe you are in any kind of shooting slump. So let's watch you go at it here. And, one of the best scorers to ever play at Augusta University. You see, I can't control myself sometimes. I'm whooping and hollering. Okay, what's his nickname?
Well, you have to remember back when people used to all watch TV, they had commercials as well.
Lamar Mundane.
No, not Lamar Mundane. There used to be Office Depot commercials.
Okay.
And they had something that they were selling. It was a joke. It was called the Easy Button.
Yeah.
That's him, because when he shoots, you just think, man, that was easy. Yep. It's not, but he just makes it look that way.
Yep.
Easy button.
Keep shooting, Miguel. Keep shooting, Miguel. All right, we're going to run, but I want to say on the way out, thank you to Get Up Productions for producing this and sponsoring this show. We're so appreciative. I've been getting a lot of compliments from people who are Jags fans that enjoy going in-depth in between games, reviewing recent games, previewing upcoming games. By the way, the Jaguars play Newberry in a non-conference game Monday at 3 p.m. at home. It's the fourth game of a 4-game homestand. We're 8-1. We're number 12 in the country. And so again, thanks to Get Up Productions. That's getupproductions.com, and on Instagram it's at getup.productions. You can find information about the Augusta University at augustajags.com, and then on social media at Augusta Jags. Thanks to Keenan Mann for being, for the first time in his basketball life, a substitute star. And we look forward to next week when Dip Mitris will rejoin us, and hopefully the Jaguars will be 10-1 because they play on the road Monday as well. So until next week, we'll see you in the gym.